And friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Look up on the wall, there on the floor, under the pillow, behind the door.
Welcome in on a hot Tuesday. So I was watching the Today Show. In this country, this beginning of July is the hottest start to this month in the history of when they started taking records for weather. The hottest.
I can definitely believe that.
J-Ham, here on Thursday, when they tee off, the feels like temperature will be 109 degrees. The actual temperature on Saturday and Sunday, when the leaders tee off, it will literally be 100. I have no idea what the feels like is going to be.
Were you here 45 years ago when we had like the 3 hottest days in the history of Memphis?
I see. So the hottest days that I remember were in 1980. Yeah. I wasn't too far from here.
Yeah.
I was working in Cape Girardeau, Missouri then. There was a string, and I want to say it was like 17 straight days, that the temperature never got below 80 degrees. And I'm talking at night. It never got, and it was near 100 every day. And I've heard Dave Brown talk about that. I think Dave Brown, the former weatherman for Channel 5, I want to say he did a stunt in 1980 where he literally fried an egg on the concrete in front of the station on Union Avenue.
Yeah.
I was not here for that one, but I can believe it. I really can. Listen, we got a busy show today. We got Kent Ritchie, who's the emperor of the Landers Empire. He will join us. He's always an interesting guy to talk about. You know, they purchased the rights for the Landers Plaza, which was the party deck. You know, Landers Center, I want to ask him what's going on there, because if you've passed that on 55, they're doing all kinds of things there. And I want to get his take on conference expansion, the Sports College Act, and maybe the PGA defection. I'm still going with this story. This is what I think. And I may be persona non grata when I get to Southwind tomorrow. But if I were FedEx and Memphis and St. Jude, and if the model for the Live is going to be a $10 million purse, 2.5 times the Challenger purse, and if they keep their stars, I'd say go after a Live event. I've said this once, maybe crazy. And you know what I would do if I were the Live Tour? I would go to every tour event that just got dumped from being a major tournament to what they hope will be a challenger. I would go to Memphis, historic since 58, first one in 1913. I'd go to the Colonial in Fort Worth. They're trying to downgrade. I'd go to the one to Atlanta, where they've been holding the playoff championship. I'd go to Detroit, where the Rocket just got ended. Those are 4 that have been pretty darn successful. 3 of them extremely successful. And I'd go and I'd tie in their charities to make me look like the good guy. That's what I would do.
Sounds like a winning plan.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, because it will, I won't say restore life, but it'll maintain life in those areas, in those markets where you have those, like you said, those successful tournaments.
Yeah. That's what I would do if the model is $10 million and if they retain Rahm and DeChambeau and Cam Smith and Joaquin Neiman and all those guys, because those guys are bigger names than what is 121. Is that your top player you're going to get? So that is what I would think about it. Congratulations, Ole Miss. They are putting up a statue of Archie Manning. I'll be honest with you. From the very moment I came here, all I ever heard about Ole Miss, and I know there have been great players since then, but their legacy player has always been Archie Manning.
Yeah.
And
I thought he had one already.
You would have thought he would. I know he's got a great parking spot. When he goes to a football game, buddy, he's not walking more than 30 feet, and he deserves every bit of it. He's, first of all, One of the classiest guys you'll ever want to know. One of the nicest guys you'll ever want to know. You would never know this guy really was a superstar. He's just a great, great human being. So I am really, really glad that they have figured out this Archie Manning statue, and it's so deserving. They should put it right in front of where his parking spot is. And then the numbers coming out on the FESJC purse, they're $20 million. $3.6 million goes to the winner. And I finally figured out how they work this. 18% of the total purse is what they use to figure out the winner's share. So 18% of 20 million is 3.6 million. The total purses this year, this is amazing, that the PGA Tour pros are playing for. You take in all the tournaments. I'm not talking about Korn Ferry Tour, so I guess I wouldn't be, if this were a year from now, I wouldn't be talking about the Challenger Track 2 series. $550 million is what is being divvied up by the top players in the world. 550. I really would be curious to see before Live what that total purse money was, because Live has ended up making them a ton of money. I mean, a ton of money. I'm sitting here in the Family Leisure Studios, and I got to tell you, we've got a brand new sale. It's called the Dog Days of Summer. Swimming pools as low as $1,999. Unbelievable. Patio furniture up to 50% off, and you get free theater seating, a whole set, with a purchase of any in-stock hot tub. That's just amazing. And you can receive a dog bandana and tennis ball with a purchase. If you do that, then send a picture of your pet with the newly purchased Family Leisure product. You get a $50 gift card. How about that? That is a good deal. All you got to do is get to I-40 and Wooden Road and go see the folks at Family Leisure. It's a pleasure to bring in the guy who is the brains and the general of the Landers Empire. That is Kent Ritchie. He joins us once a quarter or so. We pick his brain. We got a lot to talk about today, Mr. Ritchie. I want to start with you guys getting the naming rights to what was called the Party Deck, which is now called Landers Plaza, which is pretty cool. And I did a broadcast of FanFest from there. I must say, I think the concept is pretty neat. Give me your impression of the plaza, of the stadium, the whole bit. Good morning.
Good morning, and glad to be on, Dave. I was blown away when I saw the concept of the Party Plaza, and when I'm standing there, I turned around to Ed Scott, the athletic director, and I said, "I'll buy the naming rights." And I mean, it just happened just like that. I don't know whether they ever planned on selling the naming rights or if they even thought about monetizing that. But I thought it was a no-brainer. And now that it's built, it is twice as big as I thought it was going to be. And we'll have automobile displays there and permanent signage, and it's going to be a home run.
What do you think about just the overall stadium, the new tower, the high tech stuff they've got that they have put in there?
I've been all through it as recently as last week, and it is better than what they promised. It's on time. It's on budget, and the fit and finish is much higher quality than I have ever seen in a sporting event like this. And it'll be better than the FedEx Forum that we're existing in now. Maybe the new one will come up to that standard. I don't think you'll be able to go to a stadium anywhere in America unless it's domed that would have any more amenities. They have taken all the seats loose. They've painted everything. They've caulked everything, replaced the windows on the east side. That scoreboard on the south end is massive.
Yeah.
And when people see this ribbon board that's going to go all the way around the stadium, and especially right there above Landers Plaza. Most people will be watching the game on that instead of watching it on the field.
Yeah, I've been curious. You know, they call that the ribbon, but it's 80 yards long. 80 yards long and 18 feet tall. But how do they use it? Is that going to be just one big video board, or is there going to be advertising crawling? How are they using the ribbon?
All of the above. They will be able to show the game in live action, all the replays, as well as on the scoreboard. And, you know, because of the pixel quality, the picture will be a lot better. It'd be like the difference when you get an iPhone 17 camera versus a Brownie. And, and it's a split screen. So if they want to show 3 or 4 different things on there, they can. If they want to be running commercials or advertising on part of it and game action on the rest of it, they can do that. Or they can turn it, and of course they're going to sell advertising, just like when you go to the Forum and you see it for the Grizzlies, or you see it for the Tigers, or you watch any other stadium in the country. So yeah, they've definitely monetized that.
You are a businessman. I've never asked you this. They decided to take control and basically now own and are liable for all costs of Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. They're hoping to make money with concerts and maybe rodeos and all kinds of different things they can do in that stadium. Do you like the idea of them owning that with all the liability of insurance, security, and everything that goes with that?
Well, I think it was just a practical matter, Dave, that, the state offered a big chunk of money toward the development of the stadium, and they had to own the stadium in order to get that money. The Smith family put up a massive challenge deal. So from that standpoint, it made sense to own it. From a business standpoint, and will they make money on it? I don't expect them to. I don't think they will. I hope they break even or get close to doing it. But look, it was always an awkward situation. They were the tenant and the primary tenant, in a stadium that they didn't control, and there were all sorts of things, as you and I know, about trying to get that fixed or repaired or improved. When you're dealing with a municipal government, and no knock on the city. The city shouldn't have been in the stadium business either. So I think this is probably the best way and the best marriage. I think Dr. Scott and his team have got a good handle on it. I know they have a foundation board that's separate, and you and I both know some of the people in Memphis that are leading that effort. So I think it'll work out fine, and I think they'll make a good go of it.
I have faith in most of those people for sure. The city is still in the stadium business with AutoZone Park. What if you're the guy that's in charge of that and you're a businessman, what would you do here?
If I'm the city of Memphis, I put whatever resources I need to make that jewel downtown shine like it was when it was built 20-something years ago. You think about it, occupies a corner across the street from one of the most iconic landmarks in the city of Memphis, the Peabody Hotel. It is the gateway to our entertainment district, at Beale Street, and it just is one of the main anchors of downtown. I think that we need to spend whatever we need to do to bring it up to standard, and do everything we can to keep the Cardinals AAA team there. So I hope they do it.
I do too. And I think it needs all $55 million or $50 million. Now they got $5 million in it that Greg Unger has been talking about. But I think that is absolutely necessary to keep downtown thriving, without a doubt. You were one of the first people to have the naming rights for a stadium, the one in South Haven, that is now the Landers Center. I can't even remember what the original name was, and I think you've had the naming rights probably as long as FedEx has at the Forum. So you had the foresight into that, and I see a lot of activity that's going on there with the stadium, with the surrounding area. What is happening at used to be called the DeSoto County Civic Center? I just remembered, but it's been the Landers Center for I don't know how many years now.
For the last 15 years anyway, and I hope for the next rest of its life. That's one of the better investments that we've ever made in our life, and what they're doing there is absolutely going to be transformative. They are building a 75,000 square foot convention center.
Wow.
into the Landers Center, and then there is a huge resort-style hotel scheduled to be built attached to it that would be larger than anything in the state of Mississippi for sure, and it would rival anything in Memphis. The Renaissance Center will have more expo space, and if they get that hotel straightened out next to it, would have more room space. But that is a boom town in DeSoto County and in South Haven in particular, and we have about 250 employees there and 6 automobile dealerships. So we're happy, and we're really tickled with the Landers Center.
Well, that sounds like that convention center will be a competitor to the Renaissance Center in Memphis.
Oh, I can tell you, well, if they don't get that convention center hotel fixed next door to it, and they don't do things like get the trolleys back running, and if they don't invest in the Redbird Stadium and in that thing, it will be like a giant sucking sound for them. But anyway, going back to the Landers Plaza at the football field at the stadium, it will accommodate about 2,000 people, and when you're standing on the level of the plaza, you can't even see the football field. Nobody's going to care because it's going to be an open party deck with 360-degree bars and a huge TV screen and and everything else. I think it'll be mixing and socializing and talking, and there'll be a lot of people there, and some of those people, everybody in the suite will have access to it, and some of those chairback seats will have access to it too.
Back in June, Dr. Ed Scott said that Memphis was going to go full revenue share in hopes of future conference expansion, that Memphis would get into a Power Four. I'm sure you or your group is part of, don't know for a fact, but part of the funding that is going along with all of this. Give me your thoughts on the future conference expansion, what you think Memphis's role might be in all this.
Well, I think we got the right leader in Dr. Hargrave and in Dr. Scott. I'm very impressed with their vision, and and they're doing the nuts and bolts things to get us in whatever comes next. And I don't know, I haven't have any more insight on that than you do on what will happen. But I was very impressed with the fact that Memphis was, I guess, maybe the first one or two of the group of 5 or group of 6 to say we're going to full rev share. And I have watched Penny and Coach Huff build their teams, and I think we've got more talent, which means we've got more money, to invest in that deal. So being at full rev share at this point is a huge, huge advantage, for Memphis. So we'll see what happens. And, I think the success of our football team in the future is what's going to determine how this league affiliation stuff, shakes out.
And as far as football goes, actually the American, when it comes to the group of 6, is probably the best league.
Well, it has been, and what better testament than you have for that than four of our coaches last year go get Power 4 jobs.
Yeah. No,
and three of them in the SEC. Now that's and plus we've got Mike Norvell still at Florida State, and Dan Lanning at Oregon, and Kenny Van Lanningham at Arizona State. So I mean that's pretty damn good resume, isn't it?
Norvell's coaching tree is pretty darn good if you look at it.
Yes,
It's pretty
yes,
darn good.
It is.
What do you think about the Protect College Sports Act that the Senate has now pushed off until September after recess?
Well, I don't know all the details, but we got to have some help to bring this insanity to some way of control it. For right now, it's nobody enjoys it. The fans don't enjoy it. I don't know. Maybe the players enjoy it, but the coaches certainly don't enjoy it, and the public doesn't enjoy it. So I hope we get something that helps us sort this thing out, that just stops everybody from running to a local court and changing the rules.
Well, they are pros. I mean, that's what they are now. You're getting revenue shares under this act. It would be up to $48 million.
I saw that. It's staggering.
You got to have some fiscal responsibility. You can't have free agency because of the transfer rule, and no cap at all. You're right. It's unsustainable. Even I think at the upper levels, with some exceptions. It is absolutely crazy.
You'll always have an outlier. You'll always have the one-offs, but I mean, you can't have 136 teams. The donor base will just give up, or wear out.
Right.
At some point there's got to be some loyalty.
What was your first reaction when you heard? And we still got this year and next year, but the PGA Tour was turning down Memphis for a main event.
Felt like I'd been kicked in the gut.
Yep, me too.
I felt like it was the biggest insult to FedEx and St. Jude that I can imagine. And God bless FedEx and all they've done for us. And without them, we wouldn't have the tournament. And just the money they've poured into the PGA in general over the last 20 years of the FedEx Cup points. So. 2 years is a long time. Things can change. People can change. Circumstances can change. So I hope for the best. But you think back, I've been going to this tournament when it was at the original Colonial, right there in East Memphis.
We're talking, 50s.
Yeah, and, when those guys were showing up and if they were lucky, they got $2,500 to win it, So, and that was when Arnold Palmer and some of those guys were starting out. So I hope, that we can work it out. It'll be a bitter disappointment if we become a Challenger Series, and so we'll see what happens.
Landers' participation in the FedEx St. Jude Classic is pretty large. Would you? And I know you got time to think about this, but your gut feel right now, would you be a part of a Challenger Series? Because I'm certain tournament officials will come to you to ask you that question.
Well, I don't know. I've been asked that question, and it would just depend on the circumstances. It would depend on whether St. Jude is involved or not, or Lamont or some other, Memphis institution. It would depend on who some of the other partners are. We are deeply involved, particularly from the automobile standpoint. We're the only automobile dealer in the whole PGA Tour system that does all the courtesy vehicles. Everything else is done by a manufacturer, and they've stayed with us now, going on almost 20 years. So we'll see what happens.
That's all we can say. All right, my favorite part of this conversation, because Landers Cadillac we're proud to have as a sponsor of the show. I always say it's the double whammy, because the standard of cars is Cadillac, the standard of car dealerships are Landers. And I love new car technology. So tell me, what am I going to see late September when these new cars come out?
Okay, well, now cars come out year round, and a lot of them are already out. And mainly what you're going to see, and it's in a lot of cars already, is self-driving technology while you're hands-free driving while you're in the car. That's pretty common on trucks and cars, but more prevalent on what's coming now. And a big help will be you'll be able to do hands-free driving and tow a trailer in some of the 27 models. That would be a huge improvement. So
you trust that stuff?
I have one on my truck, and I use it all the time. It doesn't activate if you're going down Poplar Avenue, but it will activate the minute you get on 385 or 240 or, any well-marked street like that, too. But yes, you get used to it. In fact, you'll get spoiled by it.
Which, because you've got dealerships of all kinds, what's your favorite car?
The one you want to buy today is my favorite car. But I'm not in the storage business. I'm in the selling business.
The one I want to buy at one of those lenders' locations.
Yeah, well, I don't care whether it's a GMC or a Jeep or a Nissan or a Ford or a Cadillac or a Ram or a Buick. I don't even know all the brands. Oh, we sell Land Rovers and Audis and Volkswagens. So we sell them all.
You do. Always a delight chatting with you. Thank you so much. We'll talk again when basketball starts.
Well, let me ask you one question. So you're ready? You're going to be the voice of the Tigers. Continue.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so you're getting ready to go to Vegas.
I am.
Back to Memphis and then to Boise.
That is correct. In between, wait a second. In between, from your home state, there's a trap game. You better be careful, because Butch Jones is no slouch. And Arkansas State thinks of us as a rival. So you better not forget that one.
They've beaten us in the past, and I've been there, and you have been too. Yeah. And Butch is a great coach. And then Penny's exhibition deal with
Arkansas and Mississippi State.
That's a heck of a challenge going to Walton to play Arkansas in anything, isn't it?
It is. It really is. I may need self-driving for that trip for sure.
Yeah. Well, good luck this year, and we're proud to be a sponsor of your show.
Thank you so much, Kent. We appreciate you.
Bye.
That is Kent Ritchie, head of the Landers Empire. I got to take a quick break. When we come back to Baton Rouge, we go. Ron Higgins on the SEC.
Not only can you listen to your favorite shows on Sports 56, you can also watch video of the shows live on Twitter and YouTube. Watch and listen every day at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
It's sort of a philosophical question.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Bear with me. Central Barbecue's slogan is, smoke is our sauce.
I've seen the sign.
So then why does Central Barbecue offer so many sauces?
This is exactly why I try not to engage. While Central Barbecue is so delicious from being slow smoked for 24 hours, it doesn't need sauce.
That's my point.
Silence, Padawan. While Central Barbecue doesn't require sauce, it's nice to have the option. Better to have sauce and not need it.
Than need it and not have it. Got it.
Although you'll never need any sauce at Central Barbecue.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
All we hear is Radio Gaga, Radio Gaga.
Back in. We're heading Baton Rouge a little bit late, but certainly I love talking with this SEC historian Ron Higgins, and we were chatting a little bit earlier this morning. There's a new approach the SEC is taking in terms of practice and physicality. I'm not sure Memphis is doing that because Charles Huff is a Nick Saban disciple, but you're saying when it comes to physicality, they're doing things more like the NFL. Good morning.
It's a very fine line for coaches deciding how much they want to hit in preseason. And honestly, now, I mean, LSU just started to hit today, but what does that mean? Does that mean out and out hit? Does that mean like a thud, like when you wrap a guy up and hit him and you don't tackle him? It's because they want to, protect injuries. Now, before they did that, but now it's really you're protecting your investment. These guys are getting paid. And so you don't want these guys to get paid to get hurt in preseason. That'd be a disaster. I mean, this has happened, God, forever at different places. I mean, I go back to 2016. Les Miles might not get fired if Leonard Fournette doesn't get hurt in a scrimmage a week before the season, and LSU starts this terrible offense. He gets fired in the fifth game. Stuff like this happens, but now they don't do that. But again, the downside of this is, in season openers, you wonder if you've hit enough. You wonder if you've been physical enough. You wonder if you could be sloppy tackling, or you're going to get overpowered at the line of scrimmage. So it's really really fine line deal.
I do think over the last several years, and I'm going to say this is a trend of 10 years, and I've heard coaches say this, that tackling has become much less consistent, that it's almost a lost art of the way the great tacklers used to do it. And I don't know if that's because offenses are spread now and there's open space, so it's more difficult, or if the fact is that practices, for the most part, have become less physical for fear of injury.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of times, you don't see guys wrap up. They just, try to bump them down, hit them as hard as, with his shoulder and knock them off balance. And then they'll fall. But yeah, so that's a concern, going into opening games is, did we, have enough physical contact in preseason? Are we ready for that? And I think that's the question every coach question. Lane Kiffin was talking about yesterday, I don't know how much he's going to hit in preseason. He said last year at Ole Miss, we didn't hit that much, and we stayed healthy throughout the year. He goes, probably going to the playoffs, that team was as healthy as it's been all year, or healthier. So I think that, but now, again, because you're paying Sam Levitt $5 million, the quarterback for LSU, you don't want Sam Levitt getting hurt. You don't want any contact, even accidental. So, yeah, it's interesting. They've really gone the NFL route, like protecting investments.
Interesting, for sure. Speaking of investments and money, do you know the cost of the highest for attendance of any school in the SEC? What it cost?
Well, I'm thinking probably the only private school in the SEC. I would think Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt is the highest. What do you think that education costs per year?
$50,000.
$6 short of $100,000 per year. $99,994 a year to go to Vanderbilt. That is incredible. Now, the average of the SEC schools in-state is somewhere in the mid-50s. Rather, out-of-state is somewhere in the mid-50s. And in-state is somewhere in the mid-30s. So it's pretty costly. The Mississippi schools, believe it or not, Mississippi State mid-30s is slightly higher than Ole Miss. Alabama schools are right near $40,000 for in-state and around $60,000 for out-of-state. But if you're an out-of-stater going to a SEC school, the average is somewhere in the 50s to 60s.
I know at LSU, the in-state students get a discount if their mama makes gumbo really good, so that'll work. Yeah, yeah, it's incredible how much it. And when you think about it, when you're sending your kid to school, even in state, it's a nice chunk. Plus, you got to figure out how to pay for an apartment, for food.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. It really is. If you get some help in different ways from the federal government.
Well, I'm thinking
really,
in Vandy for $100,000. That's got to include housing.
Oh, that's unreal. Oh, you would host. Oh my, yeah.
Well, I think
that's
like Rhodes College here is near $80,000 a year.
Yeah, but Rhodes is really small and it's really exclusive almost. It's just so yeah. I mean, it costs to send kids to school. I mean, and again, if you want to go out of state, it's even worse. That's the thing you don't want to hear your kids say. Hey, I want to go to school out of state. Oh no.
Yeah,
you sure?
Exactly. Right. It's most of the time double the money. Is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Your favorite storylines for this coming SEC football season, and don't give me LSU Ole Miss because we know that one is the top storyline. Give me some others.
Who can challenge Georgia and Texas at the top? Is there anybody in that next group of teams that can join those two for challenge at the top? Can they challenge Texas and Georgia have the best? We have the best quarterbacks. Can they do that? All the new coaches, you don't know what you're going to get. I think you have 5 or 6 new head coaches. I mean, for the first time in a long time, you really don't know what you're going to get. But then you throw in the transfer portal, you really don't know what you're going to get. That's why these guys set the lines in Vegas the first couple of weeks. They're guessing because they don't know what they're going to get because you have new head coaches in the transfer portal. I mean, that stands out to me. Is there any coach on the hot seat?
No, there's a bunch of those.
I mean, of course.
How about Venables, maybe? Beamer, maybe? The hottest seat in America might be Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I'd say that. In the SEC, I'd have to say Beamer. I mean, they get to a certain point and they just don't, can't finish. All the rest of them, they're all. I'm thinking of everybody in the league. They're all okay. Maybe DeBoer to a certain extent because the Alabama fans are so,
If they didn't make the playoffs this year, do you think they would let Kalen DeBoer go?
Maybe because again, Alabama, like Kentucky basketball and LSU baseball, they invented the sport. Their fans think they invented the sport, and so if you're not challenging, or you have 2 bad years in a row, you're gone. You don't have a coach. So I could see it happen. I could. And that would have been the right move. I don't think. I think you've got to give them at least another year. But again, I thought they were going to give Brian Kelly another year. They didn't do that. So what do I know?
Yeah. Well, I think Kellen DeBoer deserves another year. Now, if he didn't make the playoffs and lost to Auburn, there might be a lot more pressure on him.
Oh my God, no! They're all over. You lose to Auburn.
Yeah.
You leave when you exit after the game. You just run to the bus, go to your house, and start packing.
Two other guys. I was a little surprised that we're on the hot seat. And that is, really one that I'm surprised at. Dabo Swinney. Do you think if he had a bad year again, doesn't win the ACC, that they would consider removing the guy that had this as one of the top 2 or 3 franchises in America?
They might, because he's been talking about it for 4 years. Hey, if you don't want me as coach, I'll move on. He's been daring them basically. He's finally got to the fact, and he doesn't have a lot of them, but he's, for the first few years of the transfer portal, he refused to take transfers.
Right.
No, we're going to do that. And then he realized, we need transfers. And so he started to do that. We'll find out. They play LSU in the opener, and we'll find out. But I think with Dabo, honestly, I think he's a good coach. He just needs a fresh start. I think when you've been in a place too long, you kind of get stale. And honestly, if you're not challenging for the national title every couple of years, and fans get tired of hearing your message. They do. I mean, they want somebody they feel like that they can win, or hire some coordinators they feel can upgrade their game.
Last one, Mike Norvell. He's a $45 million price tag to get rid of after this season. If he doesn't have a good year, what happens to Mike?
I didn't get rid of him. Yeah, I do. He's had some really, really bad years. And, you know, you also relate that to what else is going on in that state. If you know, Florida, with the new coach, you know, if they play well, a lot of this stuff in college football is all connected to what the other team in the state is doing.
I agree.
I mean, Alabama and Auburn's always been that.
Yeah. Well, the thing that gets me is I really thought Mike Norvell was a home run, a grand slam, and I thought Luke Fickell to Wisconsin was too, and both of those have really turned out. Both of those guys are on the hot seat. Ron Higgins, we'll talk more college football and the SEC next week. Thank you, my friend.
Oh, well, take care.
You got it. That is our guy, the SEC historian, Ron Higgins, down in Baton Rouge, brought to you by one of his favorite golf courses. That's Miramichi. That's in Woodstock, not Millington, 25 minutes from East Memphis, 10, 12 minutes from downtown. If you live on Mud Island, I mean, you're there so quick, you won't believe it. And when you get there, you'll love what you see, the beauty, the facilities, the best practice facilities there are. You can learn how to hit out of a sand trap. They got a practice sand trap there for you. Then you've got 7,400 yards of competition if you want, or move up inside 5,000. You've got choice. It's the complete golf experience. It's Miramichi. Make sure you tell them we sent you. We're back in just a minute. We're heading just south of the border. And we're going to talk to our friend Munzie, Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal on Tiger basketball and this week golf. He comes your way in a minute.
You have opinions?
I think it's over.
Of course you do.
I don't think it's that simple.
Everyone does.
I got all the answers.
Hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255.
Looking for that perfect piece that says forever? As did Grammy winner Lainey Wilson for her engagement. Discover the elegance of Holly Winter fine jewelry in Germantown. From stunning custom designs and engagement rings to timeless gifts you'll treasure for years. Holly Winter offers personalized service and beautiful fine jewelry for every occasion. Visit Holly Winter Fine Jewelry at the Shops of Forest Hill on Poplar, where Memphis finds sparkle, style, and something truly special. Holly Winter Fine Jewelry, 9155 Poplar, Suite 18.
Old Dominick Distillery's award-winning 8-year reserve bourbon is back in Memphis for its second year. Small batch, intentional, and proudly made in Memphis. This is bourbon for the love of bourbon. A slow sipper with a flavor journey that's been refined by time. Find Old Dominick's 8-year reserve bourbon at an area retailer. This pour is reserved for you. Old Dominick Distillery, 305 South Front Street, or online at olddominick.com.
The best golfers on the PGA Tour are coming to Memphis to kick off the FedEx Cup playoffs at the FedEx St. Jude Championship starting August 13th. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM will be broadcasting live at TPC Southwind throughout the day, Wednesday through Friday of tournament week, keeping you up to date with the latest tournament news. Our coverage from TPC Southwind is brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Also sponsored by Sissy's Log Cabin, Canal Funeral Directors, Bangers Pickleball, and Ronnie Grisani's.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Well, and Tuesdays with Jason Munz, Mr. Tiger from the Commercial Appeal, but now he's Mr. Golf. He broke the story along with Sports Business Journal on the PGA Tour, not coming to Memphis after 27 as a major player, as a championship event. So you were one of the first to break it. Tell us how all of that evolved. Good morning.
Good morning, yeah. So it kind of was just, I was, reaching out to various entities to working on a preview story. And as I pulled on various threads, it became apparent that we had some news on our hands. And yeah, that led us to last Wednesday when the formal, when we went with the story, and it it made some waves here, not only here, but sort of from a broader standpoint as well.
When you first heard this news, because I had heard that there had been a decision that was made, but I didn't know what it was, and I really thought it was positive. I thought if it was negative, I would have figured that out quicker. But I was really taken aback by the fact that they chose not, because the money was there. FedEx was going to pay for the championship event, but they chose not to come to Memphis. Same way they're choosing not to go to Atlanta. They're not. I don't know if this is because of sponsorship, but they're not going back to Detroit. They're certainly not going to go to Fort Worth. They're going to stay in Dallas. But the Colonial, which is, I don't know how long that tournament's been around, forever it seems. I mean, it's Hogan's Alley, for God's sake. They chose not to go back there. So it's not the only one, but it sure did take me by surprise. When you heard there was news, did you think it was going to be this?
No. Well, so the writing's kind of been on the wall a little bit, over the course of the last year, but especially in the last couple of months. Like, the writing's been on the wall a little bit. And then especially after Brian Rolapp came out in late June and basically was like, yeah, there's like major changes coming to how we are going to do things from now on. And it was like, okay, he's telling us without telling us, but yes. Then when I'm like, working my different threads, and I'm told by the PGA that there will be news. We just, we're not going to give it to you just yet. Just give us a day or two, and then we'll get to you. We'll get it to you. I thought, well, certainly they're not going to, like. It must not be bad news if they're like, working with little old me. On this story, like, certainly it's got to be, reasonably positive, if not more so. But so yeah, I would, like you, I was also like, oh, well, interesting. I wouldn't, like, if it was going to be rough news, I would think that they would just sort of ignore us.
I would have thought they would actually wait until after this year's tournament to make that announcement, because it does put. Like, you got guys like me that are saying, hey, we should consider live. And that would, obviously, I would never have had that sentiment if they had not released this. Do you think Brian Rolapp is coming to Memphis? Because if so, and he's like at the closing ceremonies, don't you think he gets booed?
Here's what I'll say. I have reached out to the PGA, and I have asked if I could, like, well, one, I asked if he was going to be here, and two, I asked if he is, can I talk to him? And the response that I got was simply that he will not be doing media until Atlanta, until the Tour Championship. So they didn't exactly answer whether he will be here or not. That tells me that he probably is, but he probably is only going to, like, he won't be visible until the very end. And yes, if he is in fact here, and he is on the 18th green to, for that final ceremony, it will be really interesting once he is introduced, and because I mean, like, isn't he given the opportunity? Aren't all the commissioners given the opportunity to speak?
Well, they usually do.
Yeah.
So the last two or three commissioners where I was doing that ceremony on 18 as the MC, they were all happy and proud to be in that ceremony and to give, announce the check and all that other good stuff. And this is a $3.6 million check they're giving out.
Right. It's the first leg of the playoff.
Yeah.
So I would think he would be here, but I've got neither a confirmation nor a denial as far as whether he will be here or not. But yes, again, assuming he is, given the still current status of this tournament, it will be incredibly intriguing to see A, how he's received, and B, what he says, if he says anything.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to say much, honestly. And I think if he gives it that thing, he'll just talk about the FedEx Cup and probably try to butter up FedEx. even though he stabbed him in the back. All right. The Tigers basketball schedule came out. I know you had hinted at earlier that we were going to see a third exhibition game. This was presented almost like the schedule has been released, and it's got the 14 non-conference games, but it did not have a third exhibition game. We know the two in October at Mississippi State, at Arkansas. Is there going to be a home one?
Yeah, they're actively engaged in a plan to make that happen as we speak. I haven't been told it's definitely going to happen, but I have been told that they are working on it. They expect it to happen. It will be against a name opponent.
Is this a Power Four opponent?
Well, so it's a power, like I would call it a power program. But like technically,
that makes me think it's the Big East.
I would hazard to guess that's not flawed logic.
Okay. What do you know a date on that?
I would think it would be I would think it would be the first exhibition game. Like Mississippi State is in Starkville on October 23rd, and Arkansas is in Arkansas on October 29th. I would have to think that the third exhibition game will be the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would be before the Mississippi State game.
That makes sense.
Like I wouldn't think they would try to squeeze it in between the 23rd and the 29th.
Okay. There was an article written in a competitor of yours that said this is too tough a schedule for the University of Memphis at this time with the state of college basketball as it is. It also says it's a $9 million budget. Now, I know there's some $20 million budgets, but I don't buy that. This is probably the highest of all the group of six, right? If not the highest, it's amongst the top two or three. And if you're going to have a chance to have any kind of seating, you got to go take your chances. And $9 million is not chopped liver. I don't agree with that sentiment. I'd love your take.
Yeah, no, $9 million is certainly more than anyone in the group of six, and it's more than most in the power conference at the power conference level. Like we've already established that, like, yeah, that you've probably got a dozen, maybe 2 dozen that are spending more than that on basketball, but there are a lot of power conference schools that are not spending anywhere close, like really not in the same, at that same level. Like they're just not. So Memphis is really, I would say, top 25, top 30 in terms of men's basketball, rev share that they're spending this upcoming season. So there's that. But then, yeah, the other part of it is my take on the schedule is the only other alternative is to schedule, is to do a week schedule and try to stack wins and try to pad your metrics and those sorts of things. But like, if it's 6 of one and half dozen of the other, does it really matter which one you choose? Like, if the same thing is going to happen, like let's say you schedule, super tough schedule the way Memphis has, and you go 500 or something like that over the course of that schedule, is it really that much different than scheduling like ranking in the 200s or the 300s in terms of non-conference strength of schedule and just rolling and blitzing through it? I don't know. I mean, I'm not one of these analytics gurus, so like I've never claimed to be that smart, but it just would seem to me that if it's one or the other, and the end result is going to kind of be the same, and that's at worst. That's like, and at best, you sneak up on a few of these teams and score an upset or 2 or 3 or 4, and then you're really obviously you put yourself in position. I just think
then win your tournament, win your league, regular season, and you're a 5 seed, and you got a chance as a 5 seed.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. The way I look at it is, if it's going to be one or the other, why not choose this way as opposed, because if you don't choose this way, you're potentially shooting yourself in the foot in other ways. But like, who's going to come out? Who's going to come out like you're going to get more people out to see Louisville. You're going to get more people in your building to see,
any SEC team, Louisville, Big Ten team, any of those major teams, even the Big East teams, you're going to get fans to come see. To go and see Evansville, we know that's a bye game. So, and the Grand Canyon thing might be interesting. Utah State, I think, is a good opponent to have.
For sure.
So, anyway, last thing. There was a website that has proclaimed that Memphis was interested in an Arizona State player. They already got 15 guys. They'd have to cut somebody if they added another player. What's your take on all of that?
Well, so not only would they have to cut somebody, they would also have to make peace with something that they'd also have to reverse course on something that they've, on a course that they've established very early in this offseason. Everybody sat down in front of the media, Ed Scott, Penny Hardaway, and said, we're not going to do things the way we've been doing them in the past, where we're waiting on guys or we're adding people in August and September. We're going to be proactive, and we're going to act with a sense of urgency. We're going to get our team in place as soon as possible, because that has bitten us in the past. I find it very difficult to believe, number one, that they would all of a sudden reverse course on that. Not to mention the fact that they would have to cut somebody this late in the process. Not to mention, I like all of this to say I don't think there is any real consideration on Memphis's part to add any players at this stage of the game.
All right.
And again, never mind the fact that there is no roster spot right now.
My friend, as always, I appreciate it, and I will see you tomorrow out at TPC Southland.
I look forward to it. Thanks.
Me too. Thank you. That is our guy on the Tigers and a whole lot more. That is Jason Munz. He's brought to you by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows, okay, you're pulling the trigger. Your dream home. You've been waiting years. You have land in your family. You're finally got everything together. The interest rates are right, so you're going to build. But you're not sure how to utilize that land. Oh, does Ken know? And by the way, if you're looking for land, Ken can find land for you just like that. Maybe you are on land that you love. Your lot is great. Your location is terrific. You don't want to move. It's a great school district. But you want modern amenities. You want the California closets, the island in the kitchen. You want the movie room with the speakers in the wall. He knows how to do that. I call that renovation with innovation. Whether it's a new dream home or renovation with innovation, one place to go. That's Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. 75 or 80 years of experience, third generation. Williams in the business now. I promise you. Call him, talk to him. He's fun to talk to. He sees little details in the big picture all at once. That's the place to go. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Tomorrow from Southland. Can't wait for all of that. Johnny Radio's right around the corner. Have a great day, everyone.